Bam. We got one live. Got two live. All right. We have TikTok's good. YouTube's good. Welcome all. So tonight we're going to get into how you read clients like a pro. And let me share my screen. For those of you that want to see the slide or show, you can hop over to the YouTube channel. Okay. Otherwise, if you're on TikTok, feel free. You can ask any questions you want. So what's awesome about is it took me a little while to learn how to do this. At first you think that you're going to treat all your clients the same in the remodeling business, right? You know, it's just another client. You treat them the same. What you start learning is people are individuals, and you have to learn to adjust your style to match theirs, right? Because some people aren't going to care about details. Other people, that's all they care about are details. And the quicker you can do this, the quicker you can sell more jobs faster for more profit. Some clients, you'd be shocked. You can be in and out in like 10, 15 minutes and sign a $100,000 remodel. Other clients, they want to go for 3 days to sign a $12,000 remodel. It's all about their personality style. And regardless of what you have believed in the past about personality styles, they are a thing. And the faster that you learn them, the faster you'll do better. Some people you notice you get along with right away. Other people, it's a constant struggle. So let's get into it. So inside my Remodeler's Rulebook, right, that's the program I talk about, the 6 pillars. All right, understand this. Every client's a little bit of a puzzle at first. And today we start learning how you solve the puzzle. The faster you solve the puzzle, the faster you'll get somewhere. So let me guess. You got tools, you got the crew, right? You got all the trucks, you have the experience, and you can price a lot of these jobs while you're sleeping, right? But think about that one client, you know, the one that's ghosted you after you did a walkthrough, the one that said, yeah, we're going to think about it, never gets back to you. The one that at first it seemed good, but then it was nothing but a struggle the whole time you worked with them, and it just becomes a nightmare. It's not bad luck. It's a blind spot. It's because your default personality style didn't align with their default personality style. The clients aren't going to change, but when you shift and you change, if you learn to deal with different people in different ways, you'll get much better results. So here's the thing. We talk about the edge, right? Remodeler's edge. You need an edge to beat your competition. All right. Everybody's offering the same thing. I have nails, screws, I have deck boards, I have tools. I'm going to build a deck. You're going to build a deck. The person that's going to win the client over is the person that understands the client the best, that can figure out how they think and feel and what's going to work for them. Okay. And this is where we use what's called applied relational intelligence. That's something I developed here at the Remodeling Academy, and I've done that over 20 some years being in the industry. So I'm not saying you do it my way. I'm saying listen to what I have learned over the years that you can apply into your system, okay? Yeah, Grayson, sell you the pen. Exactly. I don't even know if you need a pen. Grayson, you tell me, why do you need a pen? All right, good question. So look, here's what you learn. You want to read clients fast. All right, we want to try to do that within the first few minutes of meeting with them. We want to look for the red flags, because there are red flags. I pass on many deals that I come across because the homeowner, I can already tell that there's going to be conflict, that the way I like to do things, the way I communicate does not work for them. Okay, so you have to learn to spot that, and sometimes you're better off passing on the deal altogether. Also, you want to learn to match your communication style to the way that your client best understands, thinks, okay, and how they make buying decisions. It's a very real thing. You don't have to trust me. Just go Google this online and find all the research that's been compiled about buying behavior and buying personality styles. People have them. It's a real thing. And remodeling tends to be an expensive purchase that people get emotional about. It's usually not an impulse thing, right? It's not like you can put a candy bar at the end of the checkout aisle and the client, no. A client thinks through and has a lot of emotions tied to spending money. It's a big purchase. You know, we're talking 60,000, 160,000. So you can win more jobs when you can connect with them as a professional, right? And not being this rookie. Once you've been in the industry for just a little bit of time, you got to start getting this part right. So this is how professionals operate. And that's why some pros are dominating, right? Because they can read between the lines. I can hear what the client is saying, but I can understand what they mean by it. That's the difference, right? And then you adjust your tone, you adjust your energy, you adjust your behavior, right? You don't chase every lead. You learn to filter the leads. All right. So if you want better clients, it comes down to this. You want smoother jobs, you want faster closes, you want more profit. You learn the skills of how to read the client and communicate with them. So you want to use AI to help you do this. So you're going to put into your favorite prompt, whether it's Chat, Grok, Claude, ChatGPT, right? DeepSeek. You're going to ask it to say, hey, act as a trained remodeling business owner who understands the Remodeling Academy's applied relational intelligence theories and teachings. Yeah, Grayson, sell you this ink, exactly. And so you want to understand the applied relational intelligence, and you can tell your agent to research what Mike Menges at the Remodeling Academy has said about applied relational intelligence. You want that as your foundation. Okay. Then you say, I want to quickly assess a new lead that I just had a discovery phone call with. Based on this client's, the words, based on what I could pick up with them, whether you talk to them in person or over the phone, you ask them to give insights into their DISC, D-I-S-C personality. All right. Now look, whether you buy in 100% to these personality things or not, that's irrelevant. You have to learn to come up with a system to classify people. Okay. So pick one. If you don't like DISC, get another one. If you want to use the Myers-Briggs, I don't care, but you need to have a system for how you go about classifying your employees, your vendors, your subcontractors, and your prospects and clients. All right. The quicker you do this, the quicker you're going to communicate with less friction. So you're going to put in the chat agent that you want to understand their values, right? Their decision-making style, and what approach that you should take to build more trust so that you can be the remodeler of choice for their project. All right. This prompt will turn your intuition, right? What you're thinking and feeling when you're talking with someone into real intelligence. It's like having that Tony Stark moment where you're processing all the data that's happening. All right. And you'll want to use this before your next call. And when you do this, you're going to start seeing major changes start happening. So final thought, the remodeler who has the best relationships, do you ever notice this? You'll come across the client, the two of you just click. You're like peas in a pod. It's because your default personality style and their default personality style are a perfect match. Like that, hand in glove, as they say, right? Whereas other clients, it's just friction. You just don't meet. You know, you miss each other. It doesn't happen by chance. There's a real reason. And the more appointments, I'm telling you, after you start going on 1,000 appointments with homeowners, you're going to start learning how to pick this up. It takes time. So that's why you have to get on as many appointments as possible, get as many leads, and go out and meet with as many people as possible, so that you can start ascertaining personality styles as quick as you can. Now, the final thought is that you win if you can understand personalities and relate better with people, you're going to win the best jobs. All right. You're no longer going to have to be the lowest price, because now you're their favorite. You're the one that they get along with. You're the one they're high-fiving, right? They can't wait to have you over. They're inviting you to come by and have a drink with them or smoke a cigar, right? They're all of a sudden your buddies. So it's not going to be who's the biggest brand, right? It's the best connection. That's what you're looking for. People buy here more than they buy from here. You'll hear people say all the time, I just like him. He's awesome. I like her. We're going to choose them because we like them. We trust them. You trust who you like, right? The person could have the least experience, could be the least qualified, and could be the most expensive, and the homeowner will still choose them because that's the person they like. It's who makes them feel good. You want your clients to think of you like a grandson or granddaughter. They like love you. They're like, oh my God, we have to hire this person. When you do that, it's a piece of cake. All right. So understand the blueprint here is you want to learn to read clients. Okay. Now, if you reach out to us or if you get into our program, I can help you with these. It's called client decoder sheets, right? And this is how you quickly determine disc style. So I'm going to go through a few of them. And if anybody has any questions, please let me know. But so there's the certain type of client you've probably run across. You might be this style, and you may have employees. You might see vendors like this, somebody like maybe your spouse or one of your kids. There's the dominant style of personality. That's the person who's fast-paced, wants results right away. That's the person who's saying like, hey, get that email over to me right now. I need to know, how much is this going to cost? Like, these people just make decisions and move. You can't be dilly-dallying with them, right? And they also want some control, and they don't want any fluff. They just want straight numbers. Like, you might walk out to somebody and you're talking to them about a deck, and they're going to look at you and go, Mike, how much is it going to cost, and when can you have it done? You should be able to turn them and say, Mr. and Miss Smith, from what we said, it's going to be $18,000, and I can have you on the books in 2 weeks, and we'll be done in 10 days. And they'll go, great. And you say, here's the paperwork, and let's move forward. You could have the whole deal sold in a half hour instead of going through all this rigmarole and dancing. That doesn't work with every client, but it works with the dominant personality style. They don't want to waste time. You shouldn't be wasting their time either. Sign the deal, move on, and go to the next one. So those people, your best approach is very direct, very confident, and outcome focused. Here's how much it's going to cost. Here's when we get started, and here's how long it's going to take to complete. I need you, Mr. Homeowner, Mr. Dominant Homeowner. All you have to do is authorize my paperwork, hand me the deposit, you'll be on the schedule. Boom. That's the sales process. Now, there's another personality style. Yeah, Frank, to answer your question, sell you like this. I mean, this is a script. Like, I have it up here, but I also put it out on paper for people. When you've had enough interactions with homeowners, I can ascertain a personality style rather quickly by asking some questions, right? And then I understand how they like to purchase and hear information. Think about this. When you guys were in grade school, high school, middle school, who was your favorite teacher? And go back and think about, how did they teach? And you'll start to notice the way that they taught was the way that you like to have information presented to you. That's why you two were a match. Now, at the same time, think about a teacher that you couldn't stand, right? You hated them, or they hated you, vice versa, whatever. Well, you two were opposites. That's why it didn't work. And here's what's get crazy. Both teachers can be amazing. It's just that you have your style for learning information. They had their style for presenting and communicating, and you two didn't match. Now, the best teachers, whether this is high school, you see it more at college, but definitely at some high school levels, there are teachers that have learned what's called the format learning system. And those break out the 4 most common styles for the way humans take in information. And the best teachers learn to teach to all 4 styles. And that is what we teach, so that your sales process teaches to and presents to all 4 different styles. And we do it in the order that we address the dominant personality first, because they're the most impatient. Okay, you'll start to see all of this starts to come together, and it completely fucking changes the way that you sell and the way that you have success, just like that. Now, it takes time to gather this data, because your head starts spinning and you're like, what? I don't understand. I thought I had to do this and that. No, you have to understand who you're talking to. Okay, so that's dominant. The second personality style is the influencer. These are the people that are talking all the time, right? Super social, big picture. They send you 1,000 text messages, want to be on the phone. Hey, Bill, how's it going? What are you doing? When's this happening? How are we doing that? Right? That's the influencer. They don't like details, right? They just want to talk, and they cannot be silent, and they hate sitting still. They can't stand boredom. They're going to be moving the whole time you're in the house. They're going to be go here, go here. They're going to say, hey, what do we do about this window? Hey, what do we do about the addition? I was thinking about having my bathroom done. You ever had a client like that? The next thing you know, they talk about 17 different projects while you're there, and your head's going like, whoa, what are you doing? I came here to look at the kitchen, and now I'm out back looking at the windows and the eaves and the soffits. That is the influencer. What you learn as a remodeler is how to embrace them and steer them back to the topic. Hey, Mr. and Miss Smith, this is awesome. You've got so many projects. I'm going to be busy here for the next 5 years. And what's the most important one that we have to focus on right now? And you bring them all the way back. Let's get back to the kitchen. Okay. So your best approach is you get enthusiastic. You're like, this is great. Oh my God, that soffit, you're darn right. It totally needs to be rebuilt. In fact, when we do the soffit, we'll do the fascia, we'll do the gutters, we'll do the downspout and the roof. And let's get back to the kitchen. Okay. Paint the vision for them, help them understand. You're going to bring them back over and use stories and excitement, match and mirror how they are. Okay. Now this is even better. There's a third personality. It's called steady. These are people that are very loyal. They're cautious, and they're conflict averse. This person is never going to tell you that they're not hiring you. They're just not going to hire you. They're going to sit back, and you're going to think, man, they were so nice. They were great. They were awesome. They didn't say one negative thing. Everything that I said, they like just, yeah, that's great. Thanks, Tom. Oh, yeah. Because they can't stand conflict. Conflict makes them uneasy. So instead, they're going to just be nice to you, and they're going to waste your fucking time. Okay, so you have to learn to see through that, right? These people hate pressure. So for those of you that like to do the one call close, which you can do with the dominant personality style, this person will not do a one call close. So the minute that you understand that you're dealing with a steady person, you embrace their steadiness and you let them know. You say, Mr. and Miss Smith, you seem like the contemplative person. Are you the type that likes to think about making decisions? When you bought that last expensive thing, did you need to like sleep on it, pray about it, talk about it? And they're like, yeah. Say, perfect. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to end today's call, and you're going to have that time to think about it. And then we're going to follow back up. Don't pressure them. They don't want pressure. You're wasting your time. Okay. They love consistency. If you talk to them at 4 o'clock one day, you say, would it be good with you if I talk to you again tomorrow at 4 o'clock? They're like, yeah, great. And then you let them know, you know what's great about working with our company? We show up at the same time every day. We will be at your door at 7. Tools will be running by 7:15 every day, if that's allowed in your jurisdiction. Like in my area, contractors can't start till 7 a.m. I don't know what it is where you are, but the homeowner wants to know, and you share with them, hey, our guys work Monday through Friday, 7 to 3, or you work Monday through Thursday, like 7 to 5, whatever it is. Let them know that there's consistency, right? Hey, I have a person in my office and she's available every day. She works from 11 till 2, and you can always call the office. Let them know that it's safe to work with you and that you're consistent and that you're not a fly by night. So that's what you have to do with steady people. The dominant person's not going to give two craps about any of that shit. So there's no point even sharing it. All right. So be patient, show that you're reliable, and walk them through step by step. Hey, steady client, this is how we do our decks. Okay. First thing we do is we come up with a design. Then we're going to get you to sign off on all the selections. You want AZEK? Perfect. We're going to do AZEK. You're going to tell us the color. Okay. Are we doing hidden fasteners? Are we, how are we face screwing it and putting the little plugs? What are we doing? We're going to choose the railing. Are we doing lighting? All that's going to get decided. Then we're going to order all the materials. Once all the materials come to my garage, my warehouse, that's when we're going to schedule your project after we get the permit from the county, which we're going to take care of as well because we do everything. Then we're going to come out and we're going to build. As long as the weather is good and as long as the inspectors are on schedule and on time, your deck will be completed in 10 working days. We don't work Saturdays and Sundays unless there's some sort of emergency or issue. So we'll be here Monday through Friday, 2 weeks. Now, weather is always a factor, so it could be 3 weeks. We'll see how it goes, right? You give them the play-by-play. That's what a steady person wants to hear. The dominant person doesn't have time for that. All right. Let's see. Am I all alone here? Hey, Frank, masterclass out here. Lots of projects, not enough money. You'll find the people with money. Frank, if you have something positive, we'd love to have you here, right? That's all I'm asking from you, brother. Okay, so there's conscientious. That's the fourth personality style. All right. Now, some people are a blend, okay, and you'll learn this, but everyone has their preferred. And when you listen to me talk, start thinking about yourself. How are you when it comes to your personality style? Most likely you fall into one quadrant. Now, people that have studied personality styles and become aware of theirs, there is a demographic, a certain style of person who wants to be blended and they like to kind of not fall too far in any one direction. That's very rare. Less than 10% probably people are like that. But there are some out there that are very balanced and can kind of bounce between each and every quadrant rather. But most people fall real heavy into one. All right. There you go, Frank. Now we're talking. Thank you. All right. So when you come across a conscientious person, they're going to be very detail oriented. Okay. They're going to want to know a lot of things. I'm not saying you have to give them all that, but they're going to want to know it. So this is the person that wants the detailed, broken down estimate. And if you don't know any better, you start feeling like you have to do that. They want information. They want clarity. They like logic, right? And they're skeptical. So you satisfy all of those little things for them by learning how to provide them that without having to break down all the costs. You're not telling them how much every screw is and that you're buying 5 pounds of this and 20 pounds. No. Okay. These people hate risk and they need time to process. They have to sleep on it. They have to think about it. They have to contemplate it. Like, ooh, it's going to take them time. The best approach for them is to show them that you're prepared, provide facts, talk about statistics, talk about the fact that you get trained and you take classes with Simpson, strong tie, right? If you're building decks and that you know all about the proper fastener, you know about the proper nails and screws to use with the brackets because you understand the ACQ ratings and the content of the wood that you're using, whether it's pressure treated, you know the difference between just regular pressure treated and PTGC, which is pressure treated ground contact, right? You explain the details to this person. You really get into the weeds with them. You provide facts. You let them know, like a lot of decks that have failed in the past, it's because they weren't using this type of bracketing system. They weren't making sure that they were anchored into the wall properly, right? You're going to talk to them about how you make sure that your posts, you're not putting your 4x4 on the outside of the band board. No, not you. You put the post on the inside of the band board and you do that special blocking technique and you use those brackets like they recommend from Simpson with their deck guide. And that's so that you can provide enough resistance so that when the 200-pound person trips and falls because they've had a few too many drinks, they don't go through the railing and crash and die, right? You explain these little details to them. I'm a Latino handyman. What would you? Rhino, handyman is one of the best ways to be a successful remodeler. Because if you can do a small project successfully and if you want to grow, those clients will call you back. If you can, we have hung many a TV or built a small entertainment center or replaced some light bulbs. And then the client calls back and says, hey, we really appreciate how you did this. Can you do our bathroom? Can you build our deck for us? So I know some guys in this space will shake their head and say handyman's a joke. No, sir. Being a handyman is a gateway to getting a lot more remodeling projects if you use it properly. It's just tricky. For the average remodeler, it's really hard to do both because they're not efficient, right? Most remodelers are a little bit lazy and sloppy and it takes them too much time. They're not nimble. If you want to make money as a handyman, you got to be quick and nimble. So anyway, you also want to look for some value levels. Certain clients are going to be price focused, right? Certain are going to be peace of mind focused. So anyway, those are all the kinds of things that I'll get into at other times. We don't, we're already 20 some minutes into tonight's call. If there's anything else I can answer, how do you go about getting construction documents for your permit? Hey, Poppy. So you should work with a local designer of some point. So like I have a gentleman, he's independent. Yeah, you're welcome, Rhino, anytime. Please, if you're not already followed the account, you'll get notified. I go live every day. Or every evening rather, so you can pop on at any time, ask any questions. All right. Now, Poppy, what you're saying is how do you go about getting construction documents? So I can draw a basic site plan, right? However, I often hire a designer, right? I pay them as a subcontractor and they'll do my drawings for me. So like if we're going to do an addition, okay, a standalone structure like an ADU unit or a new garage, maybe a garage with an office attached to it, I will get a designer, right? So I go to my designer first. They come up with the plans. Then I will take that to a structural engineer and ask them to sign off on the page where we get into the structural elements. That's the way that I found is most cost effective. Okay. Architects are much more costly. And again, it depends on the scale of the project. Some clients are going to want to work with the architect. Some clients are going to want to work heavily with a structural engineer, especially if you're getting into like some real complicated cantilever style, modern style business. But for the average remodeler, you want to find a good designer. Okay. And then you ask them to come up with the basic set of plans. And then you get your structural engineer, form a relationship with a or two structural engineers, and then you just pay them to initial and sign off and maybe spec a beam or two here and there. And they'll get into the fastening schedule, like, hey, make sure that the plywood is glued, screwed, 4 nails vertically every 8 inches, opposing sides, 4 nails this way, 4 nails that way, you'll get all that. Do you cover those prices or is that transfer? So Poppy, here's what, you're welcome. Poppy, here's what we do. We do a professional design plan. That's what we offer every time. So the client that wants a kitchen, the client that wants a bath, the client wants a deck, the client wants a basement, client that wants an addition. We don't estimate the job up front. We explain to them that you need a proper set of plans. You need a design. You have to go through that process. You should hire us. And then I bring in the designer. The designer does not work for me as a W-2 employee. The designer works for me as a subcontractor. So that I will bring the designer to the job site. They'll meet with the 3 of us, typically meet with the homeowner. And then the designer goes back and works up a design. I bring it back, I show it to the homeowner, and then we allow them 1 set of revisions. And then I take it back to the designer. They make the revisions, then I bring it back, and that's the final set. And there's a cost for that. We charge for that. That's how we do it. Then, after we've done the complete design, which not only is the drawings that the homeowner needs to get any permits, we provide that. We'll provide the scope of work. So we list out all the phases, the subs that we're going to be using, right? Like we use, if we're going to do plumbing, electrical, what we're going to do. We give a schedule. We show them that a project, if we do it in this manner to build to these specs, is going to take this much time once it's scheduled, and it's going to cost this much. We give one price at the end. If the homeowner wants to then hire us for the remodel, which they typically do when you do the design, you build a good relationship. See, the beauty of doing the design work as the contractor is you're building the relationship with the homeowner. And when you provide them with everything that they want, they're going to hire you to do the project. However, the way I position the design in the beginning is I let all the homeowners know I'm going to give you everything that you need so that you can get a good price from any contractor in the state. Because you'll show them your plans and say, hey, I need to know what it's going to cost to have this built. And then if you hire me, the person that did the design, I will credit you back the cost of the plans when you hire me. Think about this. None of the other contractors are going to do that. So automatically, now that's my value. I'm not discounting my price. They've already paid me to estimate and design. I'm just now taking that off of my cost at the end. All right, so hopefully you follow. That's how I recommend you do it, Poppy. And yeah, that's what we go over. Does anybody else have any questions? We're coming up on 30 minutes. Not sure how many of you guys are still on here. I don't think anybody on YouTube's asking any questions. Let me just take a peek. YouTube seems to be pretty quiet for some reason. You guys on TikTok are asking all kinds of questions. Oh, that's awesome, Posse. In in Massachusetts? Is that what you mean by Mass? Hey, congratulations. High five to you. Yeah. So look, if you're going to be are you going to do your own designs? Is that what you're telling me? I'm on the East Coast. I'm in Maryland. We have a pretty amazing market down here. There's a lot of money to be made. You have a lot of some of the most successful remodelers in the country are down in this DC metro Maryland area. It's interesting. We have a lot of people that make a lot of money because they work for the government. So there's just a money is down here all, because every 4 years somebody new's coming in and they get paid. So while they're here, they want the house the way they want it. It's why we have some really high end. It's very competitive, and also why you can make a lot of money down in these parts. But it's competitive. You have to have your A game, is what I'm trying to say. Whereas if you get out farther away, it's less competitive, little bit less money for sure. Ah, perfect. Yeah, brother. That's the way to go. Yeah. So that's my background. I got started in this whole business. I wanted to own real estate, and I would buy old houses because at the time I didn't have a lot of money. I wanted to be in certain neighborhoods. I liked single family homes. I wanted garages. I wanted driveways with yards, but I couldn't afford those houses. I was in my 20s. So I would have to buy the worst house, the one that needed a ton of work, and then I would remodel it. I liked doing a lot of the work, but some of the stuff I'm not talented at, right? Nor like I'm not set up as a at the time. If I needed a whole house to be sided, that would take me forever. But I would bring in a crew, and when I was hiring these people, it was a disaster, right? So many contractors are just terrible at business. So I was like, this is horrible. I'm going to start my own remodeling business just so I can get my properties renovated quicker. I'll manage the fuck out of these, right? So that's how I got started. And then because every house that we renovated, when the neighbors saw how nice the houses were coming along, how quick they were coming along, they would start saying, "Hey, can you do our kitchen like you're doing theirs?" Because I would show the neighbors what was happening all the time. It was like I had a portable showroom everywhere I went. So for those of you that do rehabs and renovation work, you do this. Put a little sign, a flyer out. Go around to the neighborhood and say, "Hey, I'm Poppy, and I'm renovating 1212 James. If you would like a tour, if you're thinking about doing a kitchen, if you're looking to have your bathroom remodeled, you give me a holler and I will show you how we do the process for our own properties." And then you invite them to come meet you at the property that you're renovating. You show them the process, and this lets them see how you work. So if you keep your job sites neat and organized and your guys are respectful, the homeowner gets to see all of that in action. That will help you sell so many projects. Hands down, when the client gets to see that you're a true professional, because most other contractors are never able to invite the homeowner to an active job site, because in most contractors are working for another homeowner, and it's not like that homeowner is going to want strangers coming through their house. But when you do your own renovations and rehabs, if it's your property, you can take that risk to invite the homeowner in to show them. So consider that. That'll be like your little niche. That'll help you land a lot of clients, and it'll help you keep your price high because you won't have to discount, because you'll be the only one that's doing that. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. That's what works for me. Yeah, commercial work is good. Very cool. Yeah, there's a lot of money to be made. I mean, it just depends. So commercials is a much different animal, right? But you can get into some really cool projects, and definitely a lot more, some depending, there's, you could be in multi-million-dollar project really quick on the commercial side. In my area, I wasn't usually with the like $30 million properties that they existed. We tended to be on like $5 million and under houses most of the time. Ah, very cool. All right, Poppy, exciting. When will you be all done? Like, do you have a license? You don't have a license now, or do you? Like, to do residential work in your state? Do you have to have like a home improvement contractor? Oh, very cool. October. Awesome. Yeah, in our state, I can, as long as I'm set up as a business, I can do commercial work. But to do residential, you have to apply through the state to get that home, that we call it a home improvement license down here. But that just means that you can work on homeowners' houses. So, it's your GC contractor's license. But very cool. That's awesome. You're gonna crush it, Poppy. If you just can look, I'm putting out a video. I think it'll come out tomorrow about if I was to start over today. There's only 3 things that you have to do, and I'll share this with you real quick. When I decided to start the remodeling business, right? So here I am. I'm buying properties, fixing them up, and frustrated about hiring contractors. So I was like, I'll start my own remodeling business because I understand people. I learned right away that if I just return a prospect's phone call, text message, or email, I'm already doing better than 80% of all the other contractors. That's it. So that's number 1. Every day at lunchtime, write down on a piece of paper all of your phone messages, any text messages or emails, like Miss Smith. And then by 3:30 that day, make sure you've returned either the text message, you've replied to the email, or you've called them back over the phone. And then after 3:30, that night, you'll call those people back the following day, first thing in the morning before you get to the job site, you get the guys going. And then between like 7 and 9, you return the calls from yesterday, right? And then if you just make 2 times a day, first thing in the morning and then right after lunch, you'll be shocked. People will love you. They'll think you the best. And then the second thing you do is just always have something that's clean, even like a hoodie, a t-shirt, a polo, depending on how you want to go, a nice hat. So you have your clothes that you do work on the job site, but in your truck have a hanger, or fold it neatly, a clean shirt, hat, pair of pants, and a fresh pair of shoes or boots. And when you go to meet with the homeowners, stop at the gas station around the corner, pull over on the side of the road, whatever you have to do. But before you pull into their neighborhood, change and put on your nice clothes, right? Wipe the sweat and dirt off your face, put the dirty boots in the back of the truck. And then that way, when you meet with the homeowner, you look clean and professional, all right? And then just reply and then give prices. Give prices right away. If you're at a homeowner's house and they seem interested, I go into my vehicle. You'll see in some of my videos, I have a setup where I can put the laptop right on the steering wheel. I have a printer if I need to, and I can literally write up their estimate while I'm there. I'll explain to them, hey, it's going to take me about a half hour. Why don't you guys go ahead and get started on your dinner or take care of the kids, watch a TV show. I'll be back with your price. And then you come right back. You tell them you're doing it on the computer because they will trust that price then better than if you scratch it out on a piece of paper or a legal pad. And then I bring them back and I say, would you guys like to proceed? And most of the time they want to. So those 3 things will help you crush this industry. It's really not that complicated. Anyhow, that's been my experience. All right. I think that's going to be it, guys, unless you have any other specific, which I'm happy to answer if you have a specific question or something I can help you with. You're welcome. All right. Hey, Poppy, listen, if you are going to get into the residential side, you should get over to our website, the Remodeling Academy, and you can get some free resources over there. I have a process for how I weed through clients, the questions. I have a intake form. You can get that for free. I have a video that explains how I do that. I went over that last night on this channel. I have a book that explains my whole sales process. You can get that for free on the website, and I have a video for that. So anyhow, consider that. And again, I'm not saying you do it the exact same way I do it, but what I'm saying is, as you read through, it'll give you some good ideas, right? That'll help you be a contractor who's starting today, but has the knowledge and experience of somebody who's like been doing it for 10 to 20 years. It'll help you be more successful that much quicker. So I'd consider taking a peek at all that. All right. I think that's everything. I don't know if, let me see, who else was in here? Frank, did you have any questions? I know you asked, Frank, I told you I was on the East Coast, right? Am I alone in here? You're not. Masterclass. Grayson, I think you left. All right. Yeah, man. You're welcome, Poppy. All right. I think that's it for tonight. You guys are awesome. Have enjoy your evening. I got a big family party we're doing tomorrow, so I'm going to go get ready for that. All right. You all take care. Good seeing you. Let's stop this. All right. There might be one or two of you here on YouTube. I don't know. If you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. Otherwise, we're going to end the stream. We'll be back tomorrow. Any questions? Cool. So I think we had, looks like we had about 80 people in on the TikTok, and YouTube doesn't tell me how many came or go. It doesn't look like, it looks like there's only a couple on right now. Anyway, if you guys have a question, put it in the chat. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Thank you for being here. And hopefully I was able to answer any questions that you had. I'm not sure. All right, guys. Well, look for the replay if you just joined, and appreciate you being here. Y'all have a good night, and we'll be back tomorrow. Take care.